All right, and we're live. Hello, Knockout Nation. This is Knockout TV show, and hey, I'm your host with the most, Noel Clubb, and welcome to Sports World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app from respective iOS and Android app stores, as the app is absolutely free. And when you download, please, of course, remember to download, give us a comment, because we always want to hear from you folks out there around the world. We want to hear from you. And Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks. Roku and Roku sticks are also available on all smart TVs from 2016 forward, folks. All right, let's see today's super duper knockout panel. So first off, he's on very insightful boxing analysis and an incredible fight predictor as well. Joining us live from New York City, please welcome Mr. Richard Solomon, the boxing prophet, to the show. Welcome, Richard.
How you guys doing? It's always a pleasure talking to you guys about the sweet science. Here in New York right now, it's pouring, and I think the gods have sent all the baseball fans here in New York a message, because our Yankees are about to get swept by the hated Houston Astros.
Boy, oh boy.
Let me tell you something. As a Yankee fan, I didn't think I would loathe another baseball organization as much as I did the Boston Red Sox. But seeing as this is the fourth time since 2015 that the Astros have eliminated the Yankees in the postseason, I think I might despise a new organization in sports.
So Boston Red Sox move over.
A new team is on my crap list, if you know what I'm talking. But listen,
the real hater list over here. Yeah.
In my lifetime, I've seen the Yankees win 7 World Series. I mean, how many fans can say they grew up watching their teams win? So I'm not one of these Yankee fans that has to.
You can't really complain, really.
Yeah, I'm not one of these fans that has to win every single year. But I mean, if you're asking me, I clean house. I fire the manager, the general manager, and just kind of build from scratch. But we'll see what happens.
Well, Yankees still even over the decades. I mean, they always had ability. Would have some rough years and rough edges here and there, but they always come back with dynamite teams sooner or later. It's just the way that team runs, man.
Yep.
It's one of the best teams out there in baseball history. Really comes down to wins and so forth. But they spend their way there, though, too. All righty, so moving on, this awesome super duper not boxing panel, folks. He's an awesome humble boxing Canadian treasure. He held 6 provincial titles, 8-time Canadian champion. In 1960, he won the bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games. In the same year, he was also quarterfinalist and also in the World Championships. Please welcome the one and the very only Steve Beaupre to the show. Welcome, Steve.
Well, glad to be here. Oh, doing good. Just getting ready for the winter time there, getting the lawn cut, getting everything put back into the shed. So that getting winterized, I guess. Getting everything done.
Yeah, because to share with people, like you're further north, obviously, than we are. Of course, myself being in Ryan as well, because we're both Southern Ontario. But you're in Northern Ontario in Victoria Harbor, so that's another important.
So I was just gonna say, this one comes from John Iceman Scully. He says, "Don't stop giving belts to amateur boxers who win tournaments or sometimes just one fight on a show. Do not let professional sanctioning bodies further infiltrate and indoctrate amateur boxers into coveting professional belts. Amateurs get trophies and medals." And that's, if you look at my stuff, I have medals and trophies. The only thing I did get was actually in 1983. I got a ring.
Nice ring.
Actually, in Sudbury, Ontario. The Nationals were in Sudbury, Ontario. And the winners got a gold ring, and actually the losers got a silver ring. And it says,
"Is that right?
I got to get it fixed." It says Labatt's 1983 National Champ. So
very cool.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I think I never got a belt. It was like, so I just wanted to throw that out.
No, I hear you, man.
What do others think about that too, right? So
I know. I think for me in boxing, I don't really see so much in boxing, to be honest with you. I go to a lot of Muay Thai shows too, because I also work some Muay Thai fighters too on the side, on hands and so forth, and defenses. But I go to Muay Thai shows, I do see more belts for like no no real, certified or real real purpose. It's like, oh, here you go. But boxing, I see not too much of it really. Quite honestly, I do see a lot more trophies and medals going out. But yeah, I do see what I've played. I've been to a lot of shows the last 6 months, but mostly been actually Muay Thai shows and
But
a lot of belts.
I think it may be coming from that too, right? To the Muay Thai.
It might be. I'd say boxing doesn't have that. I've seen a couple here and there, but it is I find in most other sports get a little too gratification for really nothing huge as far as development's concerned or advancement's concerned as an athlete. But you have a great point though. You have a great point. It comes down to don't over reward for the small tasks, as it pretty comes down to it. Am I correct? Is it more the reason behind all the rationale behind it?
Yeah.
Right on. Well, before we get too carried away here in our introduction, I got to start just one more dude on this show. And a very cool dude on this show, by the way, too. He is the head coach and the owner of No Excuses Boxing Club, and of course, beautiful Burlington, Ontario. Please welcome the one and the only Ryan Rannelli to the show. Welcome, Ryan.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be.
How you doing, man?
Can't hate it. It was it was a tough one. I'm happy. So Steve's point trophies. You know what? Gotta say.
Oh yeah.
I don't with no. I mean, it's still much, but you know what? He's right there is when I fought Wilcox, and they made a framed picture.
Very cool.
Yeah, nice.
Nice memories of trophies. It was just typical. So
that's really cool seeing that. Very cool.
Nice,
great wall you got there. Yeah. Your wall of fame.
Thanks. Yeah, we got.
It's like Steve Beaupre's wall of fame there behind.
Yeah.
Nice wall.
Yeah, it's over there. More over there.
Sweet. Yeah, very nice. So nicely done.
My wife did
it. Very good. Yeah, kudos to your wife on that too. Yeah, right on. Right on, Ryan. So what's new with you, sir? What's happening with you, Ryan?
Here at the club, I'm having a club show on. We've got 11ers fighting, making, and obviously the preparations, right? The hand pads,
absolutely,
and drills, sparring, and obviously at this point, this close to it.
Yeah.
Before that, boxing in the provincial championships. November 6th. In about 5 years. So it's going to be his homecoming. Sorry, his comeback. And his ass off, looking really. So we're excited for him.
Very good, very good. Yeah, Steve, your audio's kind of coming out in and out a little bit, but yeah, right on. Let's get more audio a little more fixated on the show.
So is he having fights right now?
Yeah, coming up. It's coming. You have a live show at his gym.
Gym. Good. Yeah. When is it?
Yep. So we got
what's it doing?
Provincial Isaiah Championships on November 4th. After that, we have a fight on November. We have 11 of our own. Yeah.
Nice.
Is that audio better?
We're after the provincial show. Well, very good, man. Very good. Actually, we're going to keep moving here because your audio's a little bit off, but it's okay. It's all good. But that's folks. That's Ryan Rannelli over in Burlington, Ontario, at his home gym, No Excuses Boxing Club. Listening to their club show next right after the provincial. But unfortunately, the audio is kind of in and out, unfortunately. All right, boys. Okay. Moving on to the boxing news. We're going to move on to topic number 1, which is, of course, Devin Haney faced off for a second time against George Kambosos Jr. It's billed as repeat or revenge, but of course, we all seen what happened for the undisputed lightweight title fight. was actually more of a repeat than it was revenge. So Devin, of course, displayed a super duper dominant performance against George Kambosos Jr. on the Zone Network. And so over to you guys, knockout panel. What are your thoughts and insights, of course, as we reflect back on Haney versus Kambosos 2? What are your thoughts of the matchup and insights, starting with Mr. Richard Solomon in New York?
Yeah, I thought it was the rematch went pretty much the same exact way as the first fight. However, Haney, at least in the second part of the rematch, was more aggressive. The first fight, he basically used his jab and little else, jab and clinch to win 10 out of the 12 rounds. But I found that in the rematch, he made a concerted effort to be more aggressive, especially the last half of the fight. He was landing his right hand at will. To Kambosos' credit, it seemed like he tried a lot harder to win in the rematch, whereas the first fight, he seemed just happy, to survive. What angered me, and I didn't even notice till the crew mentioned it on the telecast, was that before the rematch, the Kambosos team fired their trainer and their manager after the first Haney fight. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the most obscure fighter in the division who basically came out of nowhere and got a title shot against Teofimo Lopez because of the great work done by the manager and the trainer, and he just shits on both of them and fires them. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? It's good karma for him that Haney laid the smackdown on him, because people like that, aren't good for the sport. But in terms of Haney's performance, it was a solid performance. I like the fact that he was more aggressive. And the first half of the fight was typical Devin Haney, with his jab and his movement. And, he wanted to put on a boxing clinic. The second half, he brawled with Kambosos. Kambosos probably won 2 rounds like he did the first fight. And I will say this, though, about Haney. I saw moments in the rematch, specifically in round 8 and one of the later rounds, where Kambosos did tag him. And say what you want about Haney's talent, and he does have talent, he clearly does not like to get hit. You saw him get wobbled against Jorge Linares. You saw him get temporarily stunned against Jojo Diaz. And he's just, he's a very talented fighter, but I just, the jury to me is still out on him. A lot of his fans are saying, well, he's the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Very few fighters are undisputed in their weight class. Should he be on your pound for pound list top 10? And I say, it's not only about, the titles you have, it's your body of work. Absolutely. And when you consider his 3 biggest victories as a pro were against Linares and Diaz, which I mentioned earlier, and Kambosos, that to me doesn't exactly scream a pound for pound resume. I mean, if you want to put him in the top 15, if you want to put him in the top 15 pound for pound, that's fine, but definitely not top 10 just yet. Obviously, there are a lot of, and we'll discuss this after, but there are a lot of great fights that could be made at 135 and 140. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. But I thought overall, I like the win for Haney. I love the fact that he was very aggressive and turned the last 4 or 5 rounds of the rematch into a street fight. And he's a very, very, very talented kid. Young, I think he's 23 years old, one of the youngest champions in boxing. But let's not jump the gun yet and proclaim that Devin Haney is a great fighter.
I totally agree with you 100%. He hasn't proven enough. You have to fight more bigger names to really kind of prove that your worth in those terms of quality opposition. So true. Steve, what's your thoughts?
Well, no, the first fight, I thought he outboxed him. I just think he outboxed him.
Yeah.
And, you use what you can to beat the guy, right? His job.
That's right.
And so he boxed him. And then the second time, I think he just went out there and just wanted to put a beating on him, and that's what he did. Right? You look at his face, right?
Yeah.
So he wanted to beat him, right? He wanted to just beat him and then show him that he could beat him. And
that's right. He's
so I think he has to fight another top fighter.
Yeah.
Right?
Well put. That's where he's at right now. Exactly. He has to fight a bigger name.
Lomachenko would be a good choice.
Yeah, precisely. Agreed. Well said, sir. Well done. How about you, Ryan? What are your thoughts? Devin Haney versus Kambosos Jr. 2 on October 15th. Oh, can you hear us though?
Yeah, here. How's my audio? Is that better?
A little better. It's a little bit. Yeah. It's a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay. Going back to Devin Haney, Kambosos. I thought that was the first Kambosos' best chance, and then into the second one, I kind of that Devin Haney would beat him even better time, and sure enough, he did. Right? Kambosos was 210. Haney collected a lot of data in that first fight. There was no surprises. He was able to pour it on a lot more. Shutout. The first one was some competitive rounds. Rounds went to Haney, but they were all competitive rounds. It was mostly because Kambosos, he should have let his hands go. Chance to win was the first fight. The second one, Haney had his numbers. Great fight by he dominated him, and it's nice to see. The first one, it was close on like the scorecard was competitive. And it's nice to see him come back and so there's no question. He's definitely the undisputed champ.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him fight Shakur. That'd be a nice fight.
That would be a good fight. Yeah, that'd be a good
one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Stevenson against Devin Haney. That'd be much more interesting. Yes.
And I have to go with Shakur on that one. What do you think?
Yeah, I would too. Yeah. Shakur to me, this is a real deal. He's a real deal.
That would be a good boxing. That would be a good fight.
Yeah, and I do tend to lean
like
towards
a chess game.
being a beef fighter myself.
Yeah.
Moving on to Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Good, man. That was all done.
Oh, you're good? Okay, cool.
That's all I want.
Right on. Right on. We'll move on to my next point here, which is, of course, what is next for Devin Haney? We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. Right? Go over to Richard, the boxing prophet of New York. What's your opinion? What's your view? What is next for Devin Haney?
Well, I noticed that at the weigh-in before the rematch against Kambosos, Devin Haney looked a little bit gaunt, and like Ryan Garcia, he's going to have to make a decision if he's going to stay at 135 or he's going to move up to 140. Obviously, if he moves up to 140, sky's the limit with fighters such as, Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, Jose Zepeda, a lot of great fighters, or solid fighters, I should say, over 140. If he stays at lightweight, Shakur Stevenson still is technically a junior lightweight champion. He says he's going to move up to lightweight eventually, but I can't imagine Shakur Stevenson would fight Devin Haney right away. I think he would need it. I think he would. Yeah, I think he would need a couple of tune-up fights, and then. Me personally, I think the two fights that I want to see, if I was a matchmaker around these weight classes from 130 to 140, I would like to see Shakur Stevenson face Lomachenko at at 130 pounds, because I'm one who believes, and I've said this on the show numerous times, just like I don't feel that Gervonta Davis is a natural junior welterweight. I don't feel that Vasily Lomachenko is a natural lightweight. He struggles against taller opposition, and I think his best weight is 130. So if you're asking me what I would like to see, I would like to see Lomachenko fight Shakur Stevenson at 130 for Shakur Stevenson's belts. And I'd like to see Devin Haney face Tank Davis at lightweight for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. I think Ryan Garcia's full of BS. I don't think he really wants to face Haney. And to be honest, just as I was telling you, Haney's body of work leaves a lot to be desired. So does Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia wants a super fight with Tank, and really his only noteworthy victories are over Javier Fortuna and Luke Campbell. So can you prove yourself? I mean, I know you got millions of Instagram fighters, Ryan Garcia.
Sure does.
And all the girls love you because you're a handsome dude. But before we give you a super fight, can you at least get a body of work going? If you speak to Bob Arum from Top Rank, he kind of wants to make Haney against Lomachenko next. And I think, Lomachenko's kind of past his prime. And I think Devin Haney should win that fight. With all the respect I have for Loma, I think it's still 50-50 because Loma definitely has the hand speed and the power to hurt Haney. But like I said, I don't think lightweight is Loma's best weight. I think he's better at 130 than 135. So to sum up, basically, and I don't want to sound repetitive, but my dream fights around these weight classes would be Lomachenko against Shakur Stevenson at 130 and Devin Haney against Tank Davis at 135. Those are the two fights I want to see.
Those are great matchups right there. Yeah, getting back to Lomachenko's age, he's 34 years old, so you're right. In terms of boxing years, you're rather past your prime in that case. Steve, what would be what do you think? What's next for Mr. Haney in your take?
I kind of agree with what Richard's saying, right? Lomachenko. I'd like to see Lomachenko fight Devin Haney to see what Devin could do, right? I know.
What do you think if that would happen? What do you think if that actually? What's your thoughts if that actually take place with Haney against Lomachenko? Like, what do you think? I think it would be Lomachenko myself. But what do you think?
I think Lomachenko would take it just on his experience in that, and his ring pedigree, his IQ. I think he would. But he's getting up there in age, right? So he's got to make the fights now, right?
That's right.
I mean,
some guys can mature.
I mean, throwing Shakur Stevenson in there too, right? Shakur's probably getting bigger, right?
You're correct.
So, I mean, I think he, throwing in there against Tank Davis, that would be a good fight too.
Yeah.
So,
right on.
I mean, all those. I mean, they got to get back to the old times where they would fight two would fight each other, and then the winners would fight each other again.
Yeah,
super series. All fight each other, right? A super series, because there's at least 4 or 5 guys in that class that can fight against each other. That would be some really good fights.
Absolutely, so true.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah, you and Richard hit the nail on the head there for sure. Make it happen. That's right, Steve. Make it happen. Come on there, promoters. Let's make that happen, eh? Over to Ryan. What's your thoughts and takes? What's next for Devin Haney?
Yeah, it could be something like the Super 6, right?
Be fantastic.
And that was so good, right? Like, the fans got what they wanted. Promoters made tons of money, and the fight.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
It'd be cool to do something like Shakur Stevens, Lomachenko, Tank, and like Garcia but I don't think that he's at the same level as Tank.
Yeah.
He's gonna have his way with if Garcia fought me. I think he would beat him easily because although southpaw Luke Campbell like boxing similar style. They're similar height.
Yeah.
He had a hard Campbell, and Haney's just like way better version of that shorter boxer or puncher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I beating
team being Haney, not even close. Shakur might be best in that, in that. But Haney, Shakur Stevenson, probably probably a better fight than Haney versus, because Tank, most of those guys, it's Shakur Stevenson to that weight class would be something interesting, but
yeah.
And I do think on his social media page, Shakur Stevenson wrote that there should be some sort of Super 6 tournament to decide who the best fighter at 135 pounds is. And I remember back in the day on Showtime Network, remember we had Andre Ward when he won a Super 6 tournament back then, and it included names like Carl Frock and Miguel Kessler and Arthur Abraham and Andre Ward, emerged victorious. I think a couple of years earlier, they had some sort of tournament where Abner Mares won the Super 6 tournament. So maybe, the promoters can, put aside their egos and they can get, and this would be, of course, a dream scenario.
Yeah,
you can get like Devin Haney and Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis, maybe even throw in an Isaac Pitbull Cruz and have like 6 of the best lightweights, and you have some sort of tournament like Showtime Network did. So that would be something spectacular. But I wouldn't hold my breath for the promoters to do something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and them all having a hand in the promotion of it, right? So if they're all in promoting it, it's good for the sport.
Yeah, it would be fantastic for the sport. Fantastic. And that would be creating like dream scenarios. So true. Create dream scenarios for us as fight fans to watch and witness, observe for sure. Exactly. Well, hey, before we talk about time here, sorry, you got some comment there?
No, yeah, no. I forgot to include Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko at this point. I think, if it ever, but Devin Haney versus Tank, and then Shakur, honestly, he's one of my favorites. Anyone in that conversation, right? In that 40. So let's make it happen. 6.
Yeah, no, right on.
And if I could just say one more thing, though, if these guys take a page from Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, and Duran back in the 80s, and they all fight each other, and I'm sure my man Beaupre is going to be thrilled with what I have to say next. But I think at the end of the day, if they all decide to have some sort of tournament, even if it takes 2 or 3 years, I think that Shakur Stevenson emerges victorious. I think he's the most talented fighter out of all the ones we just mentioned. His defense is just superb. Hand speed, reflexes, he's the total package. And I think he's just a better fighter overall than Haney and Lomachenko, who sort of passed his prime. Tank Davis, I'm fairly confident that when all these guys, if they do fight each other, that eventually, a couple of years from now, Shakur Stevenson will be anointed the best pound-for-pound fighter in boxing.
Well said. I think really for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And I think Lomachenko would bring Shakur Stevenson's gifts out. He would show him. He'll show him up. Like he'll bring those gifts out that Shakur Stevens is a great fighter, right?
Force him to be in the fight. Well put.
When you get 2 great fighters in there, it's gonna be a great fight.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's what he'll bring. Even though his age he's getting up there, but he'll bring that out and he'll make that fight. It'll be a great fight.
Yeah, he still has time. But
and I think I agree with Richard Shakur. I've been watching him since he was the amateurs, right? And he's like, I always try to look for those guys coming up through the amateurs in the United States there, and in Canada too, right? And so yeah, and
like,
I always try to do that.
How impressive is it? 12 rounds, like never even put his heel down, like always in the ready position. He's always been. That's like, that's 30 seconds, and he never position. His feet are always in position. Game's on point. Like the amount of conditioning and discipline that it takes to just, they'll take a break, they'll walk it off. Never takes a break. He's always in guard.
Yeah.
I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, I guess the audio's kind of coming in and out. It's probably
Yeah. I kind of get it. Yeah.
That's what probably kind of sucks. We're getting you, and we kind of lose you. We lose you, and we get you.
I know.
Yeah, we'll come back to you, man. We'll come back to you. No worries. We'll come back to you. But hey,
how about those women?
Sorry.
How about those women?
Well, yeah, that's gonna come in next. Don't worry, that's coming soon. Coming soon here, and we'll talk about it shortly. Before we do, so we'll touch on really briefly for a little bit. Is this, of course, another big fight that weekend, which is, of course, October 15th. As we further reflect on October 15th fights, we had watched the 12-round WC heavyweight title eliminator bout between, of course, Deontay Wilder versus Rob Helenius. The fight, of course, took place in Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. This is the first time Wilder's fought since he fought Tyson Fury in their trilogy matchup. So once again, Wilder had a beautiful, massive right hand, was, of course, the big factor of his fight, as usual, the first round knockout. So, of course, over to you guys. Over to Richard first. What are your thoughts and reflections from Deontay Wilder's knockout performance against Helenius?
Yeah, I was one that thought Helenius might last. Obviously, we all knew Wilder would stop him. I thought Wilder would get the victory by a 5th or a 6th round knockout. But I got to tell you, when I saw the fight live, I thought something wasn't kosher. I didn't see the punch land. It was almost like the first Muhammad Ali Sonny Liston fight, the anchor punch. But looking back at the replay, it was just one of these shots that was perfectly placed. And sometimes knockouts are beautiful, not because of the punch, but because of the way the fighter falls to the canvas. Think when Juan Manuel Marquez face planted Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao fell so violently, and it was a great shot, but the way Pacquiao fell was actually better than the punch itself. And Robert Helenius just dropped to the canvas like he was hit by like a grenade. I couldn't believe what I said. I gotta watch this on the. I actually rewound it like 20 times to see if a punch actually landed. And you have the Deontay Wilder fans are very, very passionate. So you have crazy people that go on social media that say Deontay Wilder's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He has more title defenses than Rocky Marciano. And I'm thinking to myself, stop it. You're insulting the boxing prophet and everyone on the Knockout TV show when you mentioned Deontay Wilder is one of the greatest heavyweight champs of all time. Yes, he had 10 successful title defenses, but listen to some of these names he fought when he was heavyweight champion. Gerald Washington, past your prime Chris Arreola, Bermain Stavern twice, who's a serviceable heavyweight but nothing great. Eric Molina, we're talking about Johan Doofus, Arthur Spilka. I mean, for Pete's sake, you can't make this up. But to Deontay Wilder's credit, later on in his career as a heavyweight, he did take on Luis Ortiz twice. Luis Ortiz is a very dangerous fighter. The first fight was one of the fights of the year, and Wilder overcame a lot of adversity. He was stunned several times, but he got the knockout victory. However, if you remember in the rematch, and Lord knows Luis Ortiz could be 50 years old. You know how some of these Cuban fighters lie about their age. Luis Ortiz won every single second of every single round against Wilder until Wilder finally scored the knockout victory. And so, and then obviously he fought Tyson Fury, we all know, 3 times. So, he's an enigma, Deontay Wilder. What I will say is this. He has a puncher's chance against anyone, current or in boxing history, even against the greats like Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali. He's the type of fighter where he could lose the first 7 rounds, the first 8 rounds, and then just catch you with a haymaker and knock you out. If you want to hate on Deontay Wilder, because he's not exactly the best technically sound fighter, that's all fine and good. But I will say this about Deontay. He's got a great personality. He's good for the sport. And he's definitely one of the 5 hardest hitting heavyweights of all time. If you want to include Ernie Shavers, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Sonny Liston, that's fair. But Deontay Wilder has to go on any list of hardest hitting heavyweights ever. And it wasn't much of a fight, but and Helenius is a serviceable heavyweight. He's definitely a top 12 heavyweight. So the win was great for Wilder. We'll see what's next for him. But, as long as he doesn't face Tyson Fury again, I don't want to see a 4th Tyson
we don't
Fury
want to see
fight.
a 4th one,
But,
exactly.
Yeah, but other than that, I thought his power is mesmerizing. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, right on. Well, hey, let's move on quickly to the female story, because that was a huge story that on October 15th. So I'll bypass Deontay Wilder. We've been there. So
well, no, I thought the Nordic Nightmare would go a little bit deeper in the rounds. I thought he would get knocked out, but it was quick. That was not shocking, but that's good. That's good for heavyweight fighting. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. And Ryan, do you have a quick comment about Deontay Wilder before we get going to the female historical matchup we faced last weekend?
Yeah, well, I know you want to move on. Deontay's great at running. He does a great job of which gives them a false sense of distance.
Well played.
And Ortiz the first 2 times in his last fight. So he's like a 2-trick pony, but he's really good tricks. So
yeah, well put. But that power hand, you're right. That right hand is just so incredible. Any angle, he can drop it from any angle.
He's got a couple of simple tools. Well,
yeah.
So he's not Hall of Famer. Hey man, I give him some credit.
Right on. And hey, your audio is way better there. Oh, that was fantastic.
Happy to hear that.
And
very clear there, right on.
And if I can though, let me real quickly. There's rumors now that Wilder's next going to face Andy Ruiz. It's going to be for the #1 WBC mandatory shot against Tyson Fury. But I think I speak for all 4 of us when I say the 2 dream fights right now in the heavyweight division, because we spoke about the lower weight classes and what they should do. Tyson Fury should face Usyk. That goes without saying. And I think Deontay Wilder should fight Anthony Joshua. I think those 2 fights are the most popular, the best 2 heavyweight fights that could be made right now. That would get the whole world would watch those 2 fights.
Yeah,
I would. Amazing viewership numbers of those fights actually happen. It'd be huge numbers around the world. Yeah. Well said, sir. Yeah, so before we get a couple of time here, I want to touch the female story, because to me, it's a fantastic story. It really, really is. So, without further ado, round 3, topic number 3 here on the show, the biggest female matchup, which in boxing took place on October 15th. And of course, the matchup was between 2 female Olympians going back to 2012. Sorry, they both faced off in Olympics, London, England. And of course, they matched up on October 15th for a huge showdown. It was Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. So we're going to move on to Steve first on this one.
So I thought actually the whole card, I thought that I saw, I didn't see all of it. They didn't put it all on TV, but it was a great card. I thought awesome card for women's boxing, right? It was a great, I thought Clarissa Shields did great. I think Michaela Alicia Baumgardner fight was really, really close and a good fight, a great fight, right? And that's promoting women's boxing. I remember being in Nova Scotia at a training camp and sparring with one of the first girls who was going to start to have a fight in an amateur. It was Jenny Reed, and I was sparring with Jenny Reed, and she's actually a lawyer. And then she came later. Actually, she had a case up in Sault Ste. Marie in my hometown. So she came to our boxing club, and I sparred with her again up there. So I sparred with her a couple times. She was good. And nobody else would want to spar with her, right? Scotty Olson back in training camp. Scotty says, "No, I don't want to do it," because Scotty couldn't go easy. He had to go hard all the time. So I just, and being in the club, but I know working with females, they listen. They don't have that ego with males. They'll have that ego, right? I just thought that working with females, they listen more intently. They're easier to train. I don't know if Ryan can attest to that.
We sure can. Trained a very good one out in Canada. We sure can.
Yeah, I just thought that working with females was easy, right? And they were easy to coach, and just they listened to you. They did what the game plan. They stuck to the game. I remember I had a girl. She came, Katie. I think it was Kathy Dunn, and she won two national titles, and then she quit. And that was when boxing was. She beat everybody. She went over to the first trip to female trip for Canada. That they went to Sweden. She won. She stopped everybody she fought, and I couldn't believe she retired because she wanted to go into policing. So and she was she was a bantamweight. So, but
she was awesome.
Right on
to watch, man.
Yeah, no kidding. How about you, Ryan? Because you have a story here for sure in this one.
Yeah, the biggest what's the word I'm looking for? The nicest thing about training female boxers, in my opinion, is that they don't muscle the shots. So it's technical,
right.
Much more compact. You boxing like out the muscling. It's almost like the just straight up boxing, and it's almost more technical. It's hard to describe, but when you get and they don't try and muscle the shots, and it looks ugly and doesn't work either, right? But Amelia, as you know,
that's right.
Amelia Durham's, 3-time Canadian champ. She got a silver medal at the American Continentals in 2008, where she fought the current world champion, who was the American. I forget her name now. Maybe Richard can help me out with this one. Remember her? He can't hear me.
He's on a water break.
So he's on a water break. It's all good. But she did internationally, right? Listened really well. Always followed the game plan. So pleasure training them.
Yeah, kidding.
I love watching one of the more technical matches that you'll watch, which is usually the female. So
right on. Well said.
I look forward to seeing more.
Yeah, definitely needs more. We definitely got to see more female matchups.
And they're only 2-minute rounds, so they're really quick. Like they have to get out there and do it, and so it's like almost a sprint.
Yeah, they do it
as a sprint to a long distance running. Sure. It does. That minute makes a difference, boy.
Huge
and they're just lots of action in the fight.
Shows ago, right?
Oh, sorry.
We talked about that a couple of shows ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the 2-minute rounds for the females. Yeah, no, agreed. It's rather ridiculous. You should have 3-minute rounds for sure. Absolutely.
I like it though. I like it because I know that it's going to be an action 2 minutes.
Yeah, I want to see 1 minute. Yeah, I want to see 3-minute rounds myself.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah, I think that what? So I think they would do that in 3 minutes too. Just they could do that. I think they could do that. Men can't do that. I think the females could go 3 minutes and really just provide a action-packed 3-minute fight. I think so.
I've trained a few females before, but I would say they could for the first couple rounds, but they could definitely come down and slow down, be a different approach. I'd say mid-late rounds be a different approach by then. But I think opening rounds, I agree with you. I think opening rounds will come out pretty fierce and fast for sure. For sure. Well, over to you before we run out of time. Over to you, Richard. What's your take there? Savannah Marshall versus Shields. As we reflect,
I mean, it wasn't as good a fight as Amanda Serrano against Katie Taylor, but I'm one of Clarissa Shields' biggest critics, not for her in-ring performances, obviously, because she's a three-weight champion and an undisputed champion in 2 weight classes, which men have never done before. But she saw, I just don't like her attitude. She's too cocky. She's too brash. But you know what? I thought it was a career-making performance for her. She was in there with a bigger, stronger Savannah Marshall, and she dominated with her hand speed. She could have moved around the ring and boxed, but she stood in the pocket. She laid along the ropes. She dominated the first half of the fight with her hand speed and nice combination punches. Marshall had success in the second half of the fight because she was going to the body, and she imposed her height and her strength in the second half of the fight. But Clarissa Shields clearly won 7 out of the 10 rounds. I don't know where she goes next. She's accomplished all that she needs to do. She'll probably go back to some sort of MMA, whereas I heard rumors that Savannah Marshall might retire. I'm not really sure. If she stays active, she's definitely the second best super middleweight, in that division.
Yeah.
And what really dawned on me, and I think you guys talked about it, watching the Serrano Taylor fight earlier this year and Shields against Savannah Marshall, is that there needs to be 3-minute rounds in women's boxing, and it wouldn't be a crime to make title fights 12 rounds instead of 10 rounds. And I have to say I was a little bit disappointed with the co-main event. I expected I expected Alicia Baumgardner against Michael Mayer to be the war that Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall turned out to be, but that was more technical. Baumgardner boxed and moved. I thought she surprised Michael Mayer because Baumgardner's known more as a puncher than a boxer, and Michael Mayer fell behind early. She made the necessary adjustments, and basically it was a very, very close fight to score. It was a question of whether you liked Baumgardner's power punches or the jab rate of Michael Mayer. I personally had Baumgardner winning 6 rounds to 4, but those who scored the draw, I have no problem with that at all. I think Baumgardner, unifies the junior lightweight crown in her next fight. So there's an undisputed junior lightweight champion in that division for the females, and I would not be surprised at all if Michael Mayer moves up and challenges Katie Taylor. And make no mistake about it, I'm one who thinks Katie Taylor has at least 3 losses on her resume, yet she always seems to get the nod in close fights. I thought she lost to Serrano. I think Katie Taylor is way, way past her prime, and it would not shock me at all if Mayer moves up and actually beats Katie Taylor, because I don't think the rematch is going to happen. Baumgardner is refusing it. They really despise each other. They didn't even congratulate each other after the fight. And I just thought that fight was going to be the war that Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall turned out to be. So, Baumgardner, Michael Mayer, I would give it if I was rating that fight, I would give it like a C-. Whereas the Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall fight, I gave it a B+. But real quickly before we go, there were 2 storylines that basically sum up the year 2022 in boxing. It's the unification fights that the men are doing, and that the popularity of the female boxers has finally come to fruition. More than 2 million people watch the Savannah Marshall.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. That's going to be my point at the end there, but very good. Well said. Yeah. Most watched event for females, and then, of course, in the UK as well. So very awesome stuff. So thanks, guys. And, of course, I want to thank the boxing prophet, Richard Solomon there in New York City joining us. And, of course, Steve Beaupre. And of course, Ryan Rannelli in beautiful Burlington, Ontario. Thanks, you guys. Always a pleasure. And remember, folks, check out Zingy TV for all the news. And of course, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. And hey, man, love it. We'll see you guys real soon. Take care. All the best.